This is part 4 of The City in the Sky, and I just want to say right now, if you hear us drop some unusual cuss words, it's because we may have the Pacers game turned on in the background.
Yeah, Game 6 versus the Hawks, and at this time of recording, the Pacers are just like on the worst mental collapse ever in the history of sports.
So we're going to try to block that out, though. And
thank God we're doing commentary right now.
And on a dungeon that we like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
you like, I love.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll try to block that out. But anyway, here in part 4...
If this thing was a girl, I'd ask her out.
Yeah.
Same with the double claw shot.
It's just love at first sight right here.
Yeah, second sight. Love at second sight. This is not love at first sight. That was the wrong analogy.
Yeah, that was actually way off.
This dungeon.
We both hated it at first sight. Okay, it's like the girl you love after you get to know her.
Yes. Was it views on the inside?
Yeah.
That's something like that.
Although it's a pretty beautiful dungeon.
Yeah, it is.
We're way off the mark on
this. Well, there's not a lot of color to this dungeon, though, but there's not really a lot of color to this whole game, really.
The game in general. Although I will say, we've mentioned before how much we dislike some of the darker dungeons. And this dungeon is another one of those really well-lit, lighter colored.
I think a lot of it's because it's open, and you see the sky and the clouds and the heavens, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And that really lights it up a lot.
It does. And just being able to see the sky and the sunshine. Well, it's not really sunshine. I guess it's cloudy, but whatever. You get the point. It's light. It's natural light. So it's really nice.
And one thing that I've kind of noticed in this dungeon is there's a lot of forest enemies that we see in this dungeon. It's kind of bringing all this stuff together. Okay, we see a lot of forest enemies, and we got the wind aspect.
Yep.
So it's relating kind of back to the forest temple where we had that big open room with the bridges that had the wind.
Yep.
And then it's obviously also go back to the wind temple. And then if you want to bring that all together, back we mentioned this, back in the day, when they were making Ocarina of Time, instead of the forest temple, they were thinking about doing a wind temple.
Yep.
Instead, and you're kind of seeing all the elements, in my opinion, come together right here in this dungeon with forest enemies. It's also relating back to the forest temple in this game.
Yep.
Then the wind temple, and then the whole forest of wind. It could have been this, but it was this instead. It all kinds of comes together.
I think it ties together really well, and I just don't think they had the technology at the time to do a wind temple type thing. And they did it in Twilight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wind Waker. And then they just really implemented it very well.
Was the GameCube that much more advanced than the N64?
It had to have been a little bit.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't make it the same system,
Yeah, but
they just did that with the Wii U.
Like we said, though, they probably took a lot of those concepts and said, "Here's what." It's almost like a reimagining. This is what we wish we could have done type of thing. Another part that kind of shows that is there's some areas of this dungeon that are covered in these vines that you've seen us climbing on and hooked on.
Oh yeah, the vines.
And it gives you a picture of an overrun, old abandoned city.
Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah, when life goes away, there's that show.
Yeah, Life After People.
Yeah, Life After People. Yeah. And then
there's a plug for your History Channel.
Yeah, pay us.
But yeah, it's like I said, the plant enemies, and we see a huge plant enemy here in a little bit. But the vines growing over, the holes in the walls crumbling.
I do like that. The holes. Oh, you know what? I did not even pay attention or notice that.
Yeah, it just gives a great.
Keep going, Red. Keep going, Red.
And then to tie that back to the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time, it's if you think about it, it really was it looks almost like a Mayan ruin or something like that. It's been overgrown. You get the vines everywhere in that dungeon. And the plant enemies, like you mentioned, it's all there.
Because the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, you felt like maybe people used to live there. It has that feeling to it. It almost in my opinion, it kind of looks like an old castle.
Yeah, like a big stone castle.
Yeah, when you go up those walls, you kind of see the outside. It looks like a castle.
When you're in those outdoor areas, a courtyard.
And so it feels like somebody used to live there, and like you said, vegetation's grown over.
Yep.
And then you have the same thing here where it's called a city, and it seems like people used to live here. They don't, and vegetation's taken over.
I mean, obviously not quite to the extent that it did in the Forest.
Do we just drop the mic now and walk away from this commentary?
We're done with part 4. We'll see you guys later. But
we should have just been quiet for 5 seconds right there.
That wraps up part 4.
And try to play it.
But it's a great thought though, and it's it makes you wonder if they took that idea and said, let's take it to what we wanted to do back then. So, and I don't know why, but I love the visual of fighting a giant version of these guys. Now I feel like he could have been almost like a mini boss or something if they fleshed him out a little bit more.
Yeah, easy mini boss. Yeah.
Well, he would have been easy.
Yeah.
Like I said, give him some more attacks or something. But I just thought it was kind of cool. You've been fighting these. can't ever tell you what they're called because they have a weird name.
DQ Babas or Babas or something like that. It's not DQ Babas. I think the ones on the side are DQ Babas, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been finding them in so many of these Zelda games, especially since they went to like 3D with Ocarina of Time, and like we almost never fight a giant one like this.
Yes,
and you're like, I feel like they could have made that like a nice big like climactic cinematic.
Yeah, and then like before you know it, it's over with.
Yeah, so. And then even like when you bomb him here to totally finish off his base, you get a couple hearts maybe.
Yeah, I guess the main point really is just to get him out of the way here, so you can just claw shot up to the next ledge or whatever.
So I think if you walk too close to just that base, does it suck you in or anything? Or
yeah, he sucks. I'm not really sure. I would think Yeah, I would think he sucks you in.
I mean, otherwise, why is it there?
Yeah, and here we actually got another, not main room, but another grand room, I guess you could say, like the one we were talking about earlier. Just same, like, kind of feel. Only got the lever things right here, whatever you want to call that, sliding cylinder thingy. It kind of adds a little bit element of danger.
Yeah, and it's just, I loved these rooms. I mean.
And here's why I try to shoot some keys, which I wouldn't recommend. Those big birds are a lot easier. The keys are almost impossible.
And I feel like the bigger ones move a little slower and also more predictably.
Oh yeah, yeah. These keys have been all over the place since the history, or since the beginning of Legend of Zelda.
Which always makes sense when you think about how real bats fly. They don't fly in straight lines, that's for sure. So.
And I would imagine that trying to shoot a real bat with a bow and arrow is pretty difficult.
Probably not the easiest thing in the world. So
it's probably a lot easier to kill these keys than it is a real bat.
Most likely. And here's again another one of those rooms you see like 4. Oh, I didn't realize he sucked you in right there.
Yeah, I got him now.
You got him.
I took care of him.
This is one of those rooms where you see like 4 treasure chests or 3 treasure chests on the compass, and it's like 10 rupees.
Yeah, that's just a waste of time. Now we do get a piece of heart in this room, which is pretty.
Actually,
awesome.
That's right. I forgot about that. We do get the piece of heart in this room, so at least they're not all wastes.
Yeah, and I love this part right here, coming up this little walkway, where it's just like there's barely enough room for your feet, and that's all you have.
And you kind of hit on that a little earlier, where you mentioned like some of the narrow pathways. Like it's a pain in the neck when you're playing it, but it's a great it's a great concept.
But that's what adds to it. That's what makes it fun. Is that like there's never, and that's also part of like we'll do it right here, obviously. But when we go get that heart piece, we gotta crawl across the wall like that.
Yes, I like that.
It's like you're crawling across this wall, and there's nothing but sky below you.
Yeah.
Just,
Now here's my question on that one though. Could you just hookshot it over to that treasure chest?
No. You can't do that.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive. Let's move on.
I mean, obviously on this next one you have to walk across the edge because there's nothing to hookshot.
Says Mr. Earth Temple guy who, remember that bridge? Like, you went all the way back around the Earth Temple in Skyward Sword. We could have just went right through the bridge.
Yeah, I had issues with the Earth Temple and Skyward Sword. We will talk about that. We talked about that.
Yeah, we already covered that one.
But yeah, I saw it a few times. So I'm like, can't you just hookshot that treasure?
Obviously I didn't think about it at that time.
It doesn't matter. You made it across without dying.
Yeah,
I mean that's the important thing. So you like to live dangerously.
Oh yeah, definitely. This whole dungeon right here. And like here's the part I was talking about, like where there might be something below you. I don't think there is, but just like right here, just like I guess it's not crawling. What's that?
Shimmying or dangling.
Yeah, dangling. Yeah, dangling's good. I will go with dangling.
Yeah,
just dangling across there like that.
Thank God you don't have a fatigue bar. Like
stamina bar. Yeah,
or stamina. Yeah, you would have fallen to your death horribly.
Yeah. I hate this. This one caused me some problems. I guess you actually have to hookshot them to get their stem to fall off or something. I don't know. I couldn't figure them out.
Yeah, because I think you just keep pounding away at his face with the sword. And it just keeps. It doesn't do any damage. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how I mentioned earlier that I kind of like the force enemies and like bring it all back to relate to stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, I wish we kind of would have had. We have a couple new enemies in this dungeon. But I kind of wish they would throw some newer enemies in this dungeon. It would have kind of made it feel like, you know what would have been good is those things in the Land Room Mining Facility, like those bots or whatever.
Oh,
that might be too much for this game.
Yeah.
With this place being a little more futuristic, in my opinion, it'd been nice to see maybe a
futuristic
enemy.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that, and that was something I was thinking about watching this. I mean, you get the keys that we fought a gazillion times before.
Yeah. Well, those are everywhere in every Zelda game.
The Dine Alphas or Liz Alpha, wherever these armored
they're Dine Alphas, I think.
Yeah, like we fought them before. Even the armored guys that charge you have to hookshot their shield away.
Yeah.
We haven't fought them in that.
They were new. They were new. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like
new mechanic is really a new enemy, I guess you could say.
True, but I mean we fought them in Temple of Time in this game. because you had to hookshot some of their shells off of them and
oh, you're talking about the Helmosaur or whatever.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah, like that's the Helmosaur, I think. And then the big one, right? Or no, it's not. But the bigger one is the Helmosaurus.
Yeah. I like how you just dodge that guy, by the way. If we don't have to fight him, we don't. And that's the end of part 4.